Hey y'all, how's everyone doing? Well, I was having a morning where I don't know, I got into a lot of deep thought. And it started off with me reading, some of you may or may not know that my husband has been through cancer treatment for prostate cancer. And so you come across a lot of incredible resources. And sometimes you wonder if that's part of why these things happen in your life, is would you have come across those resources otherwise? And it just connects you with people. And hold on, I'm going to turn my phone down here so it'll quit dinging at me. Silent mode, there we go. The bottom line is, I was reading one of the great resources, and that is a cancer support group that's on Facebook. And you can always seek out groups of support, and that's the one that that's one of probably many, because a lot of people go through cancer, but a lot of people go through a lot of things. And what I got to thinking was, I was reading on this, and I know some of you are going, what kind of thing is that to say? I'll tell you in just a minute. I was reading where two of the men on this, their wives had, I'll just be honest with y'all, one of the things that happens when you go through treatment, or usually happens, is some erectile dysfunction and incontinence, and sometimes it can be mild, sometimes it can be severe, mood changes, fatigue, depending on the level that you are at with the cancer. You may undergo some things worse than others who are having the same cancer, and also just the way your body responds versus the way someone else's does, and the kind of treatments you're put on versus what somebody else does. So there's just all kinds of variables. But for these two different men, they're different posts, but I saw that their wives had basically abandoned them, either emotionally or left them physically. And my first response was to judge, because I think I would never do that. But can I tell you something I learned years ago? And that is, don't ever say what you wouldn't do. Because until you're in the situation, you don't know what you wouldn't do. I like to think I know. And so I try not to be judgy, but I would say this: the vow to be there for better or for worse is definitely failed in those two marriages. One, the wife left her husband over it. If that's what she really left over, I don't know. But it certainly could happen and does happen. And the other one, she's still there physically, but emotionally she is completely unsupportive and almost blaming. And here's the thing that is really sad. And one of the comments that one of the guys made was, because of cancer, his quality of life was over. His life was over. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I am not going through, obviously, prostate cancer or any other kind of cancer. But I've seen a lot of sad things in my life, from children dying of brain tumors, to 18-year-olds getting in a car wreck and dying, to breakups of marriages, children who are born dead, abusive husbands, abusive wives, people who are so depressed they've given up. I've seen things that you think there's no hope, there's no quality life left in that. People who've aged beyond being able to take care of themselves. And then I saw a video by Joni Eareckson Tada, and she was a diver that was left with an accident of being quadriplegic, meaning she cannot take care of herself at all. It requires someone else. Another Nick is it Kulik? Nick? I can't think of his name, but anyway, right? No. Anyway, I will put a link below to a video that was so encouraging to me about quality of life. And this is a guy who has no legs, no arm. For the other arm, he has just a little hand, and when he says hello, he always wiggles it at you and makes people laugh. Joni Eareckson Tada has written books and is a motivational speaker. Both of them are, who turn people's lives around. Turn other people's lives around, and you say they have no quality of life left. Let me tell you something. There's other people that have inspired me lately. Chip Gaines. It's got a great book out. Amanda Basham and Justin Grunwald. If you look them up on Instagram, maybe I can link all that below. But sometimes it's not in all that you can accomplish, especially physically or financially, but the fact that you actually care. That's a huge accomplishment. Caregivers, whether they are paid for it or not, but especially people who encourage other people. I hope that's what I do. And here is the bottom line point I want to make today. Your value as a human being is not whether or not another human being thinks that you're worth staying for or leaving for, whether or not you feel because of your sexual abilities, your romantic abilities, your physical abilities, because of what prostate cancer has done to you, or any other kind of cancer, any other kind of disease, or any other kind of mental illness, or anything that you feel like has changed you into a person who has no quality of life left, and that you are not worth it. Can I tell you something? There is only one other human being that has a right to say to you what you're worth. And that is Jesus Christ. And I don't even care if you don't want to hear this, because you need to hear this. You need to hear this. Jesus was human for a time and for a purpose. He never, I don't care what any pastor or whatever book or whatever tells you different, Jesus never stopped being God. He just started being human being. Jesus is God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. And then he made himself flesh and started dwelling among us, but that wasn't his beginning. His beginning doesn't exist. Our beginning of understanding him in Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and as he spoke, the Word, that was Jesus. He didn't have a name yet. That was Jesus. Jesus, when he came here to the earth, he got a name to save his people from their sins. Emmanuel, God with us. Then he changed and had two natures. He still had the nature of God that's never stopped. Even though his role is the submissive role of the Son to the Father, he has never not been God. He is God's Son. He is by nature God. The Holy Spirit, who he leaves behind, is by nature God. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and his Spirit hovered over the waters. There he is. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. And you say, but I can't understand that. You know what? That you could have three different things still be the same nature. Just look to water in a glass and then freeze that same water in an ice tray, and it is now changed form, it has changed purpose, but it's still H2O. It's the same water that was in that cup. And now you take that ice and you put it in a stove top pot, and you turn up the heat, and up comes some steam, and it's still water, and it's a third form, and it's another purpose, how it can be used. But it's still from that same nature, that same source. It is just one of many of nature's explanations towards us, saying, I'm real, I'm your God, and I think you were valuable enough to come here in a human form, to take on the flesh and blood, because I put your life in the blood. And when sin became present on the earth, it brought death. And to get life back, I put it in the blood. So I have to have blood. So there must be a blood offering over that sin, but it has to be perfect. An animal sacrifice, loved, valued animals were sacrificed, so that man didn't have to be. And finally God said, enough. I have had the plan all along that I would come there, and I would be the sacrifice for you. There's your value. That's what you're worth. It's not you're worth something because you can have sex with your wife, or because you have a physical perfect body. And I'm just talking about the to the prostate cancer survivors right now, but also to any cancer survivor or anybody that's got a physical ailment or someone who doesn't have any physical ailments, but they're so depressed they might as well. They are absolutely incapacitated, and they just feel like they aren't worth anything, and neither is their quality of life, and that is a lie from the enemy. Don't you believe that crap. Quit listening to it. Don't focus on the past. Don't even look there. And don't even look at the future thinking what could happen, because you may not make it to tomorrow and it wouldn't have even mattered. Focus on today. Focus on the moment. Focus on thankfulness for what you don't have and what you do have and what you can do for others. Let me just tell you something. One of the things that God has to rid us of as we become Christians or of this earth is our selfish nature, our selfishness, our self-centered. We are the world. We are focused on ourselves. And when you can relieve yourself of that, or when he can relieve you of that, you are free. That's what he wants to do for you, is relieve you of focusing on you. And the best way to do that is to just be grateful, to be thankful, to be helpful to others. And you say, well, I don't have anything I can do. Yes, you can. You can, first of all, turn your life over to Christ, and he will show you exactly what you would like to use your life for. Forget what you used it for before. And look what he does with who he will bring into your life. What he will do to encourage others by you. You can be that overcoming story. You can have a better life than you ever dreamed, and you're focusing on the way it was. You may have a new path, and it's permanent. You're never going back to the way it was. But that can be a good thing too. Focus forward in today. Don't look back. Don't look to the future. Just focus forward. How, Lord, can you use me today? I promise you, your value is that God himself died for you to give you life. Now use that life for how he would like you to. And I promise you, look up John 6:40 and ask God to make it true for your life. I love you guys. I hope this encouraged you.